Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's happy Tuesday to you. Here we go. Radio show number 2 for 2021 is about to begin. Gonna have fun today. Get all my notes together. We're going live at 1:02:30. India banner. Did you want the banner on, India? You tell me. I have it on. Just let me know if you want it on. Let me check in with the program director. Give you a thumbs up from him. It's 1:02. Here we go. No banner. I will take it off in a minute. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ralph Peterson radio program. It is Tuesday, January 12th, 2021. 2021. Can you believe it? The second show of the year, and I am very excited and grateful to be with all of you today. This is going to be a very exciting show, a very exciting year. I'm excited for it. I hope you are excited for it because 2021 is going to be everything, of course, I make of it. And by extension, I mean 2021 is going to be everything you make of it. Because that's right. I'm telling you, although there continues to be some doubt and some turmoil out there, that is you and I, we are still in control of much of our destiny. So if you have to be like me, follow my footsteps, turn off the news, put your head down and get to work, because it can be so overwhelming and so daunting to just watch the news day in and day out with all kinds of political strife and economic strife. And I can't tell you how many stories I have that are so reminiscent to the 1920s. I mean, 2020, and you compare it to 1920s, especially when it comes to labor and disputes and pay and people not wanting to work. And there's one thing, I was going to get into this a little later on the show, but it seems like a good time to just touch on it. And that is one of the most interesting things that I've ever learned about the Great Depression from a management point of view is that one of the number one problems or challenges that managers had during the Great Depression was people showing up for work. They still had labor shortages during the Great Depression, which we look back as the Great Depression as we have food lines and poverty and starvation, and there's all this. If the idea is if people were just given the opportunity to work, they would have worked. And the truth is that wasn't true. It wasn't true then, and it is not true now. There are thousands and thousands. I have pages and pages of notes here where companies are looking for so many employees that they here's a story. Low workers, manufacturers recruit their executives for the factory floor. That's right. You have some executive in a business suit in a meeting talking about the strategy for the year, and they get a call over the intercom. Hey, Mrs. West, I need you to come down to the factory floor real quick. Mrs. West shows up in her high heels and her business suit on, and they say, we need you to jump in on the line and help us pack boxes because we're short-staffed, and if we don't have all hands on deck here, we are not going to be able to fulfill the orders we have for our customers. And so before you know it, everyone in the executive chain, one by one, is recruited to go work on the assembly line. And why? Because there's not enough workers out there? No, that's not the reason. There's plenty of workers out there, although there is a study that there's a page in here that I think the number is like 3.5 million less people are employable right now. We've lost 3.8 million workers have been lost since last February. That simply means that they are not counted in the unemployment level numbers because these are people who are no longer looking for work. The amount of people who are interested in working, who were working and who are looking for work in February 2020, 3.8 million of them are no longer looking for work, which means they simply have found other ways, whether it's under the table work or government subsidies. They no longer are looking for work. And so that's a lot of people that we're losing for the workforce. But people just simply, it goes into so many different things where, by the way, welcome to the Ralph Peterson Radio Show. Let me back up before I go on to a tangent here. Let me say, if this is your first time listening to the Ralph Peterson Radio Show, welcome. I'm very happy to have you. So let me tell you what the Ralph Peterson Radio Show is all about so that you at least know what we're going to be talking about. This is a business radio program that focuses on business operations. Hence, sometimes I go down a wormhole, a little rabbit hole where I'm looking at some of the news of the day coming out, where we're looking at some business trends or some hiring trends or some employee shortages or some manufacturing shortages, or because in business operations, we have to be aware of all of those things. You have to be aware of everything. And especially today we're going to be talking about competitive analysis. And listen, part of that competitive analysis is judging not only where you are as far as how many people, how many staff you have, but also understanding your competitors and how much staff they have and what they're paying. And if your competitors are getting more staff to work for them than you're able to get to work for you, there's something you ought to do. You ought to go knock on their door. You ought to pull out some binoculars. You ought to sneak in. You ought to do a Google search. You should you should do anything and everything you can to find out what they are doing different than you are doing, so that you can capitalize on that information and try to continue to be competitive. That's what this radio program is all about. It's all about business operations. Each week, we deep dive into a specific topic. We spend 60 minutes, roughly 60 minutes on it. I do like bringing in news of the day. And so I do like to share some of the little tidbits I find out there on the interwebs. But other than that, we do a deep dive onto a specific topic. And like I said, this week's topic is all about competitive analysis, how to do a competitive analysis, why to do a competitive analysis, and what you should be trying to accomplish by doing a competitive analysis of your business as well as your competitors. The whole point is to find out what your competitors are doing so that you can either capitalize on your strengths or overcome your weaknesses. So if you are a CEO, if you're a COO, if you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, an operations manager, or anything in between any of those, and it's your job to deep dive into your own operations, then this is the show for you. This is the network for you, the IBGR network. This is where you want to be each and every week, 1:00 on Tuesdays. You will find me here. In addition, there is a podcast so that you can, every one of these shows are converted into a podcast. So if you don't get the show live, you can listen to it at another time. By the way, I don't know if every one of you have heard this already or not, but IBGR has its own app. And as such, it's one of the greatest things about an app is that you're able to take what you're doing here and whatever you want to listen to and bring it with you. You should not be listening to this radio program or any other while sitting static. Go walk around the shop floor, go walk around your office, go walk around the yard, go do something active. It'll help you engage with the content that we're going through. It'll give you a lot of more opportunities for aha moments. So the more you can walk around and listen to this program and others, the better you will be off. So go to your app store on your Android or your iPhone and type in IBGR, download the app, look for the Ralph Peterson Radio Show, bookmark it so that you always know when it's on, and you can listen right from the app. You can also listen to the podcast right from the app. There is a separate podcast called the Ralph Peterson Podcast, which you can go to, which, by the way, I think we're going to rebrand shortly, I believe, because we're in this weird little transition phase where we're putting all of our focus and attention back where it had started out and that is housekeeping. So we may rebrand it to called the Housekeepers Podcast, which is one of the funnest things I ever did in my life. I had a podcast for about 6 years called the Housekeepers Podcast, and we might be bringing that back. So look for that. Look for information about that. Otherwise, if you would like to be part of the show, if you would like to be part of our community, we welcome everybody into this business community. Go to ibgr.network and join us. Go to the community of commerce. You can sign up for free, become part of our community. We are business owners and entrepreneurs who create content for business owners and entrepreneurs. We are business driven. We are business minded. Every day of every week, we have a new format for different operations. So on Tuesdays, it's operations. We have a day for marketing. We have a day for sales. We have a day for finance, the whole ability to get paid. I think I talked a little bit about that last week, about how to get paid. It's one of the most important things. Anybody can send bills out. Anybody can send bills out. Get those bills paid. That's a challenge sometimes. So there's a whole day dedicated to people, to management. There's a whole day to marketing. Every day is a different day. I got to get the lineup so I can tell you exactly what days are what days. But as you know, operation days are Tuesdays, and those are the days you need to be listening the most. If you would like to be part of today's program, you can do it a couple of different ways. On the ibgr.network, you're going to see on that homepage there's a yellow question mark. It's a little flashing yellow question mark in the bottom right-hand corner. You can click on that icon and you can interact with me. You can ask questions. You can leave comments, or any other host on the IBGR network. And also, we are live. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter. We're live on Instagram. Not only are we live in YouTube, not only are we live on my own channels, Ralph Peterson channels, but we're also live on IBGR channels, which is a lot of fun. And we're going to get to our first break here in just a second. And let me tell you something. If this is your first time, if you've been here for a long time, you're a repeat listener, thank you for being here. If you're a new listener, welcome aboard. This is going to be a very fast 60 minutes. It's going to be full of all kinds of things, from blue jeans to ice cream. We're going to be talking about everything about business operations and how to conduct a competitive analysis. And so we'll be right back at the other side of this 2.5 minutes. Okay, India, how did we do? How did we do? Thank you. I don't know if I actually have a face for video, more of a face for radio. No banner, got the no banner. Thank you, India. And Mr. Bill, how are we doing, Mr. Bill? No idea. Mr. Bill's silent. We're going to say that means we're fine. Getting blurry, huh? Getting blurry. If you're watching for the first time live and you're wondering why I'm not talking to you anymore, it's because we're in an actual break on the air. And so I'm just collecting my thoughts. I got to tell you, there's one quick story I'll tell you before we get back on the air that I can't share on the air, but it would be funny if I did, is there is a new business adventure. I'll tell it social media. Why not? There's a new business venture in Japan where, because so many citizens are locked down and unable to go anywhere, and they're certainly not allowed to date anyone, they have created a a it's so funny to me. A Japan's Gifu University has invented a robotic female hand, marketing to young men who cannot take the shutdown due to the inability to date anyone. That's right. So you can get a robotic hand over in Japan now. Listen, when you're in business operations, you're looking at all kinds of business ideas that are out there, and that's just one of them. That's something that's making making the rounds. There is a robotic hand for sale. Oh. You are watching on Facebook. That's good. Good. Here we go. Well, welcome to Facebook, Bill. And here we go. So we're about to start. Oh, what would the wife or girlfriend say if she found a robotic hand? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ralph Peterson radio program and the IBGR network. So excited to have you. So excited to be here. Round 2 of 4 today. We're going to jump right into what a competitive analysis is, how do you conduct one, what to be looking for. But just as a overview, just keep it in mind like this. When you're talking about a competitive analysis, all you want to do is try to figure out why people are choosing your business or choosing your competitor's business. The other day, I stopped at a flower store, my wife's birthday. I ran in to get flowers. And when I get to the door, it says closed on Mondays. And I say, okay, no big deal, because you know what? About a half mile, maybe a mile down the road is another store to buy flowers. As a matter of fact, if I go right, there's a store about a mile down the road that is specifically just for flowers. But maybe a quarter mile on my left is a grocery store. And a grocery store, you know what they have over there in that grocery store? Well, they've got a nice little flower arrangement place on the inside there where I could probably get flowers that'll do, flowers that'll make sense, but maybe even a little more affordable. And if I were to drive past that grocery store, there is another market about a half mile past that one. And they have a smaller section, but they too even sell flowers. So imagine when I go up to the door and I pull on the handle and it doesn't work, and I notice the sign on the door that says not open on Mondays, I do not panic. I'm like, no big deal. There's other flower stores. However, I hear behind me, sir, I'm here. And I turn around and there is a woman in her car on her phone. She's got her hand out her window and she's waving to me. And I don't know who she is. So I just simply say, they're not open. And she said, you mean I'm not open? I own the store, but I'm here. I'll help you. And so I said, okay, great. So she comes running inside. I give her my flower order and she's making an arrangement for my wife's birthday. And she starts telling me about how many competitors she has. She said, I'm so happy that I came down here and I saw you when I pulled in. She says, because I saw I had another order for another customer and you could have gone to anywhere else. If I didn't see you, you would have went to another place. And I think to myself, of course, I already had it mapped in my head that I was going to go to another place, but she knew it as well. She had already done her own analysis. She sat there just rifling up. You could have went down here and there's a flower shop over there, or you could have just went to the grocery store, or there's another market past there. Actually, if you go around the backside, there's another little card place and they too have flowers in there, flower arrangements in there. And you wouldn't believe it, but on another street, she's telling me where all her competitors are. And I'm just blown away by it. I'm like, that's pretty great. How do you know why do you know where all your competitors are? And she said, because it's important that I know not only where all my competitors are, but what flowers they specialize in, what day of the week they get their flowers in, because you know what's important about when you get your flowers in? It's called freshness. And if you get your flowers in on a Monday, she gets hers in on a Wednesday, she would say on Friday, hers are fresher than those. So when somebody comes to them, she goes, oh, I'm glad you came to me on a Friday because our flowers just came in on Wednesday. That group over there, they get their flowers on Mondays. And so their flowers are not as fresh as ours over here on a Friday. It's such an interesting dynamic that she's working in, where she knows how much they charge. She's done the homework. She knows how much they charge. She knows how much when they get their deliveries in for their flowers. She knows that the market and the grocery stores are cheaper than hers. She knows it. And she doesn't try to compete with them. Instead, she competes with, if you go to her flower shop, you're going in there for elegant, big, elegant, personalized. We put them together. You can't go in her store and just buy a bouquet of flowers. She puts them together for you. So it's that differentiation. How am I saying that word? Differentiation. The difference that she's making. I'm trying to use big $5 words, and I ain't got $5 to spend apparently. But because she has done her homework, she knows who her competitors are. She knows what they charge. She knows when they get their flowers. She knows why people choose them and why people choose her. And she is ever trying to make sure that she capitalizes on her strengths and overcomes her challenges. Is she ever going to compete with somebody who is open on Monday when she's not open on Monday? No. Unless you're prepared to be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there's going to be somebody who's more convenient than you are. The grocery store closes at 10. Their flowers are available, therefore, until 10. Now, of course, I don't get the luxury of being able to have a bouquet put together for me. I may have a limited selection, but if it's a pinch, if it's the night before the wife's birthday, or if it's the night before Mother's Day or the morning of Mother's Day, which is when typically most of us buy flowers, selection's out the window. We just want to show up with flowers. So who cares as long as it's flowers, right? That's why it's so super important to have a business analysis, a competitive analysis done on your businesses. I work in long-term care, and I got to tell you, not only is a competitive analysis important, but it's the deciding factor on what you're going to do. It dictates even the product and the service line you're going to be giving. Because in nursing homes, there used to be all just gray-haired mom and dads, and they were in there for end-of-life care. And that's simply not true anymore. I mean, there is still that population in there, but most of the time now, it is the rehab patients. We have younger population who have type 2 diabetes, and so they're no longer able to stay home due to their illness. We have an awful diverse patient mix now in nursing homes, in long-term care. And so imagine, just in Brooklyn, I was working in Brooklyn, New York, and I was working with a group of nursing homes. And there are, I think, when I was looking at their competitive analysis, I think in a 5-mile radius, just think about how small 5 miles is. I think they have 21 competitors. 21. That means there's 21 nursing homes operating inside of these 5 miles. And so if you're operating in that tight of a market, you have to ask yourself, why do people choose you instead of someone else? And why are they choosing someone else over you? And what are they doing? And especially like one of the things when we're talking about strengths and challenges, which is, of course, what I would deduct my list to. So let me start here. If I was doing a competitive analysis, I would first find out geographically where my competitors are. And if you're in a global business or an online business, then perhaps there is no geographic area. So maybe it's not geographic, maybe it's service type or product type or business type instead of a geographic location. But for our purposes, and I think the best way to understand this in nursing homes is to do a geographic location. So first you find out how many people offer the same or similar services that you do. And then you take that and from there, you're going to identify what they do different than you do. it's so important to find out if they're better off than you are or if they're worse off than you are. So imagine if they're better off than you, then you can start going out and you're going, okay, they're better than me. I'm going to make a challenge list. And this challenge list is going to be telling you exactly what they do better than you do. And a couple of things could be they offer a different service. Maybe they have a different type of facility. Maybe they have rehab services that you don't have. You may offer rehab services, but not to the extent that they do. Maybe they have, and this is a fun one, this is an interesting one. Maybe they have staff that have been with them longer, which means they have longevity of staff. And of course, staff could not be more important, especially when in any industry really, but especially in nursing homes, hospitals, healthcare environments. And so if you can imagine, if you have less staff openings than your competitors, you can provide more services, more stability. You have more people, knowledge skills. You have more knowledge assets in your facility or in your workspace than anybody else does. And that is why it is so important to make these strengths and challenges lists. And then once you drill it all down, once you go, okay, our strengths are in a nursing home, our strengths are that we are a small facility, which means that we're able to provide personalized care to our residents, one-on-one care. We can see every resident every day. We can have all these multiple touch points during the day. In addition, we have an open kitchen where it's all family style dining. We do not have any tray line or anything like that. Everybody comes to the dining room and eats. We have an updated sitting room with Wi-Fi and big screen TVs and laptops for our younger population. Those are all our strengths. Those are all the things that are good for us. Now, on the other side, across the street, there's another building, and they're bigger than you are. So they have economy of scale. They can buy things in bulk more than you because they can save money a lot more than you can. They have better staffing ratios than you do. They don't struggle with keeping staff like you do. They have a better rehab center than you do. See, so all of a sudden, we're going, okay, these are my strengths. These are my challenges. And then you start trying to figure out how to both capitalize on your strengths, scream from the rooftops, hey, we do this. Hey, we're small and personalized. We do all these great things. And overcome your challenges. We need to get some more staff in here. We need to be able to provide better services over here. We need to get people on board more. We need to try to get people. We're not just hire people, but keep people. This is the beginning stages of a competitive analysis. When we come back, we're on the other side of this quick little break. We're going to be doing a little study on Levi's. Do you remember Levi's? I mean, I have Levi's on right now. My favorite jeans in the entire universe, Levi Strauss. We're going to talk about it right back. Right back. I mean, right on the other side of this. Whatever. You know what I meant. You're right. I should be syndicated. Wait a minute. Aren't we syndicated, Bill? I thought we were syndicated all over the world. I am syndicated. Thank you. That's very nice of you to say that we are. We're live here. Good. We're going to get into Levi's versus Levi's versus I thought I started my timer. Origin. Which I think is, originmain.com. Yeah, there you go. We're going to come back at 32:30, 1:32:30 for those of you who are paying attention to the timer. ghee. All right, we're going to be back here in about 15 seconds. Stand by. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ralph Peterson radio program. We are so excited that you have decided to spend a little bit of time with us this afternoon, Tuesday, the second Tuesday in January, 2021, the year. I'm telling you, it is the year of all years. As a matter of fact, I printed out just for you, my faithful lovelies out there, I printed out a list of 55 business ideas. And I got to tell you what, when I was a kid, my first entrepreneurial job, other than doing anything and everything for cash, and I mean, I would have taken out the trash, I would have cleaned your house, I would have mowed your lawn. I was the type of kid who I would collect bottles and cans. I would make jewelry. I would do anything I could do. When I was a little kid, I always just wanted money. And the best part about me when I was a little kid, because it so holds true now, is I would make $1 and I would keep that dollar for as long as possible. I mean, as long as I never wanted to spend my money. I only loved making money. I was not a fan of not having money. And let me tell you what, there is one thing that I have taken from my childhood that has served me well. It is my love and infatuation for money. I love it. I try to get as much of it as possible, and it pains me to spend it. I don't like spending it. I don't like giving it away. I don't like it. I like it collecting dust. I like it. I love it so much. I don't want you to have any of it. But when I was a kid, I never knew that there were so many ways to make money. And this list is I'm just going to run through it quickly. I'm just highlight a couple of things, talk about a couple of things that I think are really, I mean, if you've got an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid, 25, whatever, I'm just saying, like, if you've got somebody sitting at home and they're going to be bored out of their mind this summer, I'm bored, you got that kid, you do. We all do. There are some really great ideas in there. Like, for the first one, bicycle repair shop. When I was a kid, we tore apart. I never even heard of the idea. I never knew that there were bike shops. And I'm sure there was. I mean, I was born in 71. So I'm sure by the time I was tearing bikes apart at the age of 9 or 10, there were professional bike shops out there. I never knew of them. We bought our bicycles at Walmart and big box stores, and then we would try to put them together ourselves. My dad would get them in a box, and we'd put them together ourselves. Or my dad didn't even do that a lot. Most of the time, the idea of us getting a new bike is fun. It didn't happen. But we used to go to junkyards, and they would have a whole scrap pile full of bicycle parts, and you just went in there like, I need a gear, I need a handlebar, or I need a pedal, and you'd end up with 2 different pedals because you couldn't find 2 that matched. But I spent all of my childhood building bikes. And so I'll tell you one thing that wasn't prominent when I was a kid, but is super prominent now, is the idea that you can open up a bicycle repair shop. I mean, you can literally open a storage shed, and even your garage door, if you have one of them, and I'm telling you, I swear this is true, with $20 worth of tools, you can, and a little bit of knowledge, heck, and a YouTube account, you could easily open your own little bike repair shop. And bike repair, obviously, I think that it's a little calmed down at this moment, being that it's January. But towards the end of the summer last year, you could not bring, if your bike broke, it broke forever, because there was no bike shop that had any appointments available anywhere. Ride sharing is a new big thing. Not only ride sharing, like a driver for ride sharing, but also if you have a car and you want to do a little bit of driving and get some extra cash, and you don't want to do like an Uber or something like that, Amazon, FedEx, UPS, there's a process to go through, but they are always hiring independent contractors, independent drivers, which is pretty easy. Cleaning services, dog walking, eBay assistant. I know my wife would hire an eBay assistant in 2 seconds if she found someone who would take all the stuff that she has for sale, both in her own house and her mother's. She would hire somebody to list it on eBay in 2 seconds. So if that's something, listen, that's a real job. People really have stuff that's valuable, but they don't have the time to list it. They don't have the time to manage it. And you could, if you're a little entrepreneurial 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, guy, girl, got a little, want to put a little plan together for yourself. That's not, I'm telling you, that's a good business. Expert witness service. By the way, I saw this expert witness service, and I got to India. I'm talking to India. Everybody else can hear me for a second. India, we need to look into this expert witness service stuff, because I remember I worked for a company. Again, I work in housekeeping, and I am a housekeeping expert. And I remember that there was a lawsuit, and they had a guy who was called the floor care specialist or an expert in floor care. And I joked, I said, who is it? Schneider? Schneider, if you don't know, is a character on One Day at a Time. It doesn't matter. But I was a big fan of Schneider. He had the cigarettes rolled up in his shirt, for those of you who remember. Big chain, keys, and the wallet, and the whole 9 yards. My dad had a big wallet, like this huge. My dad had like what you call a clutch now. You know what a clutch purse is that a woman wears? My dad had a wallet that size with a chain on it. And the chain, I think, was not so people wouldn't steal it. I think it's because it was the only way you could actually hold on to the thing. You had to attach it to your waist. It was so big. Well, I wish my dad were alive just so I could bust his chops on the size wallet he had. Anyway, I love the idea that there's a spot for someone like me. Like, do they need a housekeeping expert to testify somewhere? I'll do that. A couple of bucks. Get to talk about my favorite subject. Why not? That sounds fun. You could be a personal concierge, which, by the way, if you listen to this idea, because this happened to a friend of mine, if you have somebody who has a birthday coming up and maybe they're a professional, maybe they're not, who knows, but one very fun thing to get your friend or your girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, whatever, is get them a personal concierge for the day on their birthday. This happened to a friend of mine where somebody hired him an 18-year-old kid to go to work with him. And he said it was the best day of his life. That 18-year-old kid was fun and just got him lunch and helped him and got him stuff, just like a personal assistant for the day. Personal concierge. That's fun. You can be a personal trainer. You have to, what's fun about being a personal trainer? You just have to look like you're a personal trainer. You don't actually have to be physically fit. You just have to look like you're physically fit. And the other reason why I know that's true is because I know a lot of people who are personal trainers, like legit, have the coaching certificates on the wall, has all the pedigree, but they're out of shape. Hard time getting me to pay you. But then you can give me a kid who's never exercised in their life. They're ripped six-pack dads because they don't eat anything at all, and they're 17, and so they've never had a problem with weight. And I would go, yeah, whatever you're doing, I want to do. And I'd pay them a couple of bucks, and, I want soccer legs. All right, well, maybe you should go start playing soccer. Music lessons are big. Music lessons. Again, you learn this stuff as a kid. You know how to play the piano. Teach people how to play the piano. They don't have to become Mozart. You just have to be spending the summer one night a week, couple nights a week, maybe teaching it through a Zoom call. You could teach piano through Zoom call. I'm telling you, there's so many. Pet sitting. There's so many business opportunities out there for those who are looking for things to do. It's a gig economy, friends. It's a gig. You can find business anywhere, everywhere and anywhere. And there's a big news article out of Florida, speaking of big businesses capitalizing on small markets, and that is the coronavirus vaccine. Now, when you're talking in Florida, there's a big push right now where, I don't know if you know this, but there's many, and I don't know how to use the word. I don't know if I should use the word hundreds or thousands or millions. I don't know the number, so I'm just going to say many. There are many doses of vaccines available right now in your area. Driving distance, you are within miles from life-saving, potentially, vaccines, and they're not being handed out. They're being held and stored and not given out, and a ranking order is being given, and everyone, this group is deemed the most important, and then this group is going to be deemed the most important, and then we're going to go move on to this group, and then by the time they get to anybody in Florida, the governor has stepped in and say, all right, listen, we're going to give you a short amount of time. Those of you who are holding on to these vaccines, we're going to give you a very short amount of time to start passing them out. If you do not start getting those vaccines into people's arms, we are going to take them from you and start doing it ourselves. Because Florida wants to make sure that everybody is able to get back to work as soon as possible. I don't know why we're not moving to Florida, Louise. Again, that's just me talking to my wife. She loves New York. I want to move to Florida. So, or Texas. I'd move to Texas or Tennessee. I'd even move to Nevada at this point. I think Nevada's a great, or Arizona. Arizona's nice. Anyway, my wife wants to stay here. We're not talking about my wife. How dare you? Florida, they want everybody to have the vaccines. Now, when we're doing a competitive analysis, when we're looking, and I'm hard up on a break here, so let me make my final point, and then we'll get into the Levi's versus the Origin Main jeans, which is what I want to talk about. Origin Main jeans, if you haven't heard, are a big new product on the market, and they're competing with Levi's, though at a smaller level at this point. When you're talking about a competitive analysis, imagine if your industry has full access to vaccines against this coronavirus, and your competitor or sub-competitor doesn't. Is that an advantage? I mean, talk about a huge advantage. If you can say, hey, all the employees here can be vaccinated, and they're first on the list, and so we can all get back to work. And then across the street is another manufacturing company, and they're way down on the list. They don't even have a chance of getting the vaccine this year. Talk about a competitive advantage. Holy moly. All right, start the timer again. 2.5 minutes in. Oh my gosh, we're just about up to our final segment of the day. Can you believe it? It goes by too fast, right? Can we agree it goes by too fast? So fun. Indy, are you still doing good? Just give me a thumbs up if you don't mind, letting me know that you're good. Mr. Bill, the program director, is asking for the information on where to get one of those electronic hands from Japan. How dare you, sir? How dare you? No, I'll send you a link. So funny. Oh, if you're not having fun, what are you doing? And it's always a good time here at IBGR. So let me get rid of everything that we've already talked about. Oh, we didn't talk about Ben & Jerry's has a new flavor or a new offering in 2021. That's fun. Indeed. Maybe we'll talk a little bit of Ben & Jerry's. Good, but still. I know what I'm getting for Christmas. Oh, that's funny. He's going to use it as a giveaway. That's nice. That's good, Bill. Good. We'll use it as a giveaway. I like it. I like it. I like it. We're good, but still blurry on. Well, if we're blurry on the social media platforms, then let me say you're welcome. It's better blurry. It's better blurry. One more minute, kids. One more minute. Oh, man. All right, here we go. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the final segment of the Ralph Peterson Radio Show. Thank you again so much for listening in, jumping in. I'm always here having a great time, and I really appreciate your listener and viewership, if that is a thing. Before I get into this Levi thing, before I talk a little bit more about competitive analysis and how it works and everything, I just got to say that the pet industry, I am a new dog owner. I'm brand new to this whole dog owning thing. My wife owned a dog, and so when my wife and I got married, I became a dog owner, and it's been wonderful. It's been interesting, and I never realized I would be walking around 3 times a day picking up poop, but that's where I am right now in my life. So no judging. I just didn't know that's what I was going to be doing with my 50s, picking up dog poop. But here I am. The pet industry, though, or certainly for dogs anyway, well, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And every time, if you're like me, every time I see a new product, a new service, if I see anything, I just always break it down. I'm just always interested in the finer, how did it happen? What's the business model? How are they making money on it? Who's actually buying this thing? When you start looking at the products and services that are out there for dogs, well, my gosh, it is pet masks. I don't know. Has anybody seen a pet mask? There are people. I have not seen it. I have not seen it in real life, but when I pulled up this story, I did do an internet search, a little Google search, and yes, apparently there are people putting masks. That's right, little breathable masks on their dogs when their dog goes out for a walk. And there's a company, a pet mask company, sees a 500% surge in demand from coronavirus pandemic. Now, what's so awesome about that headline, because it makes it sound like, and I can't believe it's true, but it makes it sound like there was an actual demand for pet masks before the pandemic. Pet mask company sees a 500% surge in demand. Surge in demand? Don't you mean 500%? Don't you mean who was ordering masks for dogs before the pandemic? Come on, that can't be a thing. Maybe I don't know. And then Ben & Jerry's. Ben & Jerry's is, Ben & Jerry's has, for months and months and months, I mean, for this whole year, has been in the news, making the news, doing all these crazy things where none of their stores were open. And so they were opening up mobile locations, and they were doing all these dine and dash kind of things. And they were just trying to be super creative. And well, I don't know if this means that they have run out of ideas or if they're just on the precipice of moving all their operations into the pet food area. But Ben & Jerry's is now selling doggy desserts in little single cups and 4-pack boxes. You can get the little doggy desserts. You can buy them. They'll send them to you. Get them in grocery stores. Listen, I love my dog so much, and Ben & Jerry's. I'm going to go get my dog some Ben & Jerry's. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to get me some Ben & Jerry's. And so while I'm getting fat, he's going to get fat. My wife will come in, yell at the two of us. Maybe we'll run on the treadmill together. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Ben & Jerry's is in the pet food market. It's $1 billion industry. Pet food, pet supplies, pet care. Holy moly. Is it a big, big business? And maybe that's what another one you want to get into. But let's get back into this final segment. We only got about 8 or 9 minutes left, and I really think it's important to really dive deeper a little further into what this competitive analysis does or what it can do, because I think that when you take the time to do a competitive analysis of both what you do for your business and what your competitors are doing, humongous things can happen. I mean, new product lines are formed, new service lines are formed. You could find out that you're in a dying industry, or you could find out that you're in a booming industry. You could find out that you're doing something a little bit wrong, and you can right it. You could do something. You can find out you're doing something a little bit better than everybody else, and you didn't know that. And all of a sudden, you can capitalize on it. You can showcase it. You can put all your emphasis on that. And all of a sudden, poof, you grow. Instead of just being a little bit above your competition, you can become way above your competition. And this is this is in any field, from dog walking to long-term care to blue jean making. So blue jeans is where I would like to focus on right now, because there's this big report out right now on cost leadership. I'm going to give you the headline. I won't bore you with the article because it's 22 pages long, and it's good. It's interesting. It's just, I'm here doing an entertaining show, not a research-led show. Cost leadership, differentiation or focus. A study of corporate financial strategy at Levi Strauss. Now, see, that title might not do anything for you, but it made my ears perk up, because I like the word strategy, and I like the word financial, I like the word study, and I am familiar with the company Levi Strauss. I have Levi's on right at this very moment, and so I'm a big fan of their product line, certainly a big fan of their jeans, although it's not the only thing that they do jeans. Oh, here's something cool. I didn't know, maybe you did. Did you know what blue jeans were called when they were first invented? Anybody? Bueller? No? They were called, this is going to be one for those trivia nights. So you'll put this in your back pocket, so you'll be the smartest person at the bar. They were called waist overalls. Huh? Blue jeans are called waist overalls. That's right, 1853. Levi Strauss Company was founded for blue jeans, first blue jean company to put rivets in the blue jeans, and they did that so that workers would not tear them apart like they were known to do. They also did not come with pockets at first. Workers started sewing on their own pocket, and they sewed on a back pocket, a single back pocket, hand sewn on by the people who bought the jeans, because that was something that they needed. And soon enough, they started to put actual pockets in both the back and the front. Waist overalls. That's a fun little tidbit. So when you are doing a competitive analysis, I want you to think about it like this way. So first, determine who your competitors are. Then determine what products or services your competitors are offering and how they are similar to yours. Then research your competitors. What are their tactics? What are their results? What are they doing? I remember I saw this guy. I was a young man looking to try to figure out how to buy or make money selling anything. And I saw this guy at a mall, and he had one of these big, gigantic styrofoam airplanes. And he was demonstrating that all he would do was just throw the airplane in a circle. He'd throw it, and he would go all the way around this big open area, and he'd catch it. And then everybody'd run to him and go like, "Oh my God, my kid would love one of those." And he was selling them by the dozen. I mean, then the crowd would dissipate. Then he'd take his airplane and he'd throw it in the air, and it would make this big arcing long circle, and it would get everybody's attention. He'd be like, "Oh my God, that's the greatest thing." And they'd all come running to his booth, and he'd sell out another dozen of those things. And I'm sitting there watching this whole thing, and I'm like, holy moly. See, he's using the product, showing everybody how to use it. He's obviously an expert at throwing this thing. He's probably done it 1,000,000 times. It gets everybody's attention. It's white, but it has this red side on it, so it's eye-catching. Everybody runs in. And so I go up to him, and I say, now I'm a young guy at the time. I'm going to tell you, I can't be more than 18, 19, 20 years old. And I say to him, where did you get that thing? I would love to get one of those. And he says, without missing a beat, the manufacturer's information is on the package. And as I look over to try to look at the package, he kind of just stands back and listens. He goes, "It's $29 if you want one of the packages." I was like, "I don't have $29. He goes, "Well, then you will never own the package." See, he knew I was after the business. And he was like, "I'm not sharing it for you. You want to buy one of my airplanes? You can buy one of my airplanes on a little sticker on the side of that little package that tells you where the airplanes are made, but I'm not giving that for free." But I just noticed the opportunity. I noticed what he was doing. I watched his operation. I kind of did this little analysis and was like, holy moly, if I had $29, where would I be today? I'll tell you I don't know where I'd be, but I would have one of those airplanes today. I never got one. I didn't have $29. So there's this guy named Jocko Willink, JockoWillink.com. He is a retired Navy SEAL. I've talked about him a few times on this show. I'm a big fan. He's got an awful lot of products. He is a jiu-jitsu fighter, a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And being a black belt in jiu-jitsu, he has a clothing company that sells gis. And a gi think of a gi as like an open shirt, kind of pants, karate. You maybe think of it like that. But it's just to fight with. It's a piece of clothing that you fight with. And so he's got this company in Maine called Origin, and go to originmaine.com. You can find out all about them. And he tells this story about being at a airport, and he is touting, dirt to shirt, American made quality t-shirts and MMA shirts and rash guards and these gis. And he says he's at the airport, and everywhere he looks, you know what he doesn't see? He doesn't see a single person wearing a gi, because only wear a gi when you're going to go fight in an MMA studio or at a karate place or a jiu-jitsu gym. And so, but he goes, but what I did notice is everybody had on jeans. Jeans. He said everywhere I looked, everybody had jeans on. Different kinds of jeans, different sizes, different makes, different models, different colors, but everybody had jeans on. And he goes, that's when it dawned on me. If I have a shop that makes clothing, we should also make jeans. And so he started doing an analysis. He started looking at what other jean companies do, who they market towards, who they're after, how they make their jeans, how their jeans fit. He starts buying jeans. He starts putting jeans on. He starts talking about the way they fit. He starts going back into his catalog because he's a Navy SEAL, and he starts thinking about all the jeans that his past Navy brothers wore during the Vietnam War and how they were made, and he starts trying to replicate them. And he comes out with what he calls Delta 46, Delta something, new jeans, all because he was willing to do a competitive analysis, because he was willing to look out and keep his eyes open and say, how can I take my current business and expand it to what people are already using, already needing, already after? And that, my friends, is the benefit. That's what you get from taking the time to do a competitive analysis. Next week, it's going to be a whole new show with a whole new attitude. No, it's true. It's going to be the same show, same great host, same great channel. Have a fantastic week, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you then. All right, that's it for me. I'm Outsy. I hope you enjoyed the show. India, give me a call in a couple of minutes and we will touch base. Everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. Oh, we have outtakes for YouTube. I like it. That's good.